started. Good evening and welcome to the 2024 Candidate Forum. Tonight we're going to be hearing from candidates running for the Village of McFarland Trustee, the Dane County Board of Supervisors, and the McFarland School Board. My name is Katie Vogelsang and I'm the Executive Director for the Chamber here in town. Carly Eilenfeld, she's a Chamber member and she is also the owner of Spartan Nutrition, and she's going to be our moderator for this evening. This event is an opportunity for the candidates to discuss a wide range of topics important to them in this community and a chance for voters to get to know more about you. Thank you to the Village of McFarland for broadcasting this event. It's available to watch via McFarland Cable's YouTube channel. Additionally, this event is being recorded and can be watched again at your convenience. As a reminder, Election Day is Tuesday, April 2nd, and polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voters should visit My Vote Wisconsin for all Election Day information, including absentee voting dates and times, as well as to confirm their polling place. Now for tonight, each candidate will be provided an opportunity to introduce themselves before we begin the question portion of the event. There's 5 questions in total that will be asked to the candidates. At the conclusion of the question period, each candidate will be provided a chance for closing remarks. The candidates will be afforded 2 minutes for the introduction, 2 minutes for each question, and 1 minute for their closing. We're going to go in alphabetical order of the candidates' last names, and we'll start in this order of the introduction and move to the second person, third person, and then go through that way. Please note we're planning about 2 hours for this event tonight, and we will not be taking any questions from the public tonight. So Bella here also will be timing this for your 2 minutes, and she'll give you a 30-second warning if you need it. And I will turn it over to Carly. Get started.
Perfect. So for the introduction, please provide an introduction. Tell us about yourself, your background, your education, and why you are running for village trustee.
I'm first, right? I think we're all L's. Mm-hmm. So hi, I'm Elisa Leamy. I grew up in the Madison, Wisconsin area, went to the University of Montana and got my bachelor's degree in history, met my husband there. We moved back to the Madison area, and currently I'm working as a senior consultant for a consulting firm. I help laboratories all across the United States install Epic's lab system. So I work with people from all over the country. Also worked at UW prior to that. I got very involved last year in the Public Safety Committee as a part of the village process when one of my neighbors put in an application to rent their house via Airbnb. And I was disappointed in the lack of ordinances that the village had for those buildings. So I started attending meetings. I think I went to about 8 months worth of meetings, gathered information from my neighbors, and realized really that I liked being involved in the processes of the village, and went to a lot of village board meetings and learned really cool things that were happening that I didn't know before. And so I decided that it would be good and fun for me to try to help kind of make decisions for other people like me in the village, parents. You know, I love everything about McFarland, so I'm really happy to have this opportunity.
All right. Thank you. My name is Miguel Peña. At the age of 15, I immigrated from Colombia to the United States. I graduated high school from Janesville, Craig. Shortly after that, I joined the United States Navy. So I'm a veteran. I was a damage controlman there, stationed in San Diego. Later on, I graduated from National University out of San Diego with a degree in information management. Currently, I work as a business intelligence officer. So I deal a lot with data reporting for a local taxing district down in Florida. So I'm involved in some community programs and things like that, more in the back end of things. But I'm very interested on how to use data and technology to help communities. So I'm looking forward to implement those or use those skills here in the village. Alongside that, I also serve in the DI committee here in the village for a little over a year now. So I'm committed to that work. and looking forward to putting my background, my education, and my dedication to the community. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Lowell Prell, and my wife and I lived for 50 years in the village of Alto near Waupun, where we raised our family. My wife passed away 10 years ago. I made the decision to move to McFarland to be close to our two daughters and their families. I retired from, after 40 years, a career in the customer service and quality control technician in a large appliance manufacturer in Ripon, Wisconsin. I served on the Waupun Area School Board for 18 years, on the Moraine Park Technical College Board at Fond du Lac for 9 years, and the Alto Town Board where we lived for 8 years. I enjoy public service and seeing McFarland community grow and go forward into the future. I also served here in McFarland on the Senior Outreach Committee.
Awesome. So question number 1, what excites you the most about wanting to join the village board as a trustee?
Well, I said it a little bit in my introduction, but I really became very excited and engaged last year learning about processes and policies within the village. And I am excited to kind of take some of my personal experiences as a citizen of McFarland and as a parent to help the village make informed decisions.
What excites me about wanting to join the village board as a trustee is to make meaningful impact in the community. Having personally experienced the challenges and rewards of immigration, I understand the importance of fostering an environment where everyone feels welcome and has an equal chance to succeed. As someone deeply passionate about data and its potential to drive positive change, I am excited to the prospect of leveraging my skills and expertise to contribute to data-driven decisions within the village. I believe by harnessing the power of data, we can identify areas for improvement, optimize services, and ensure that our community thrives in a sustainable and inclusive manner. Being a veteran has instilled me a sense of duty, discipline, and commitment to a higher cause, and I'm eager to bring these qualities to a village board, working collaboratively with fellow trustees and community members to address issues, implement effective policies, and enhance the overall well-being of our residents. Moreover, my role in the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee reflects my commitment to building a community that embraces and celebrates its diversity. I'm excited about the opportunity to actively contribute to shaping policies that promote fairness, equity, and understanding among all residents. Thank you.
I see it as a leadership role to provide leadership for the village to go forward and have somewhat controlled growth. This community is growing, and that's great. And I also am interested in seeing the quality of lifestyle continue here and being a welcoming and open community.
Perfect. So question number 2, we'll start with you, Miguel. What are some things you would like to change or at least see done differently as a member of the village board?
Okay. Enhancing community engagement. Personally, since I've been here, I see a lot of wanting to be engaged. A lot of folks from all kinds of walks of life, they just want to be part of something, right? They want to be helpful. They want to impact the community. So I think enhancing that and harnessing that and providing some sort of outlet for that, which is already there, but definitely enhancing it a little bit. Promoting sustainable development. I'm keen to ensuring our community grows in a sustainable environment and environmentally responsible manner. I have attended a few of the meetings for that committee, and I was immediately blown away with how progressive and how engaged the community is with green initiatives. So I'm definitely looking forward to continue that work, and just incredibly proud of McFarland for how they're leading in that area. Advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion, has become a work that is close to me. So I definitely want to keep supporting what the DI community is doing. And then as a personal, maximizing the use of technology and data to ensure that we are identifying areas where we can improve and how we can use technology to further that our village policies. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like the comprehensive plan is not only a 10-year plan, but it should be looked at every 5 years to see where we're at, because things change. And with a lot of growth, we have to kind of stay on top of that. And because as the community grows, there's other issues as far as the role the village plays in it, as far as providing services. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing the village grow.
One thing that I thought has been really great about the village in the past year or so is the effort that I feel like they've made to have more community engagement. On their Facebook page, they post a lot about public information sessions, which I think are very important to get the idea, everyone's impact on what. Sorry, I got distracted with the kids out there. I'm sorry. Anyways, what I was going to say is I think that there's a lot, if you guys are all active on social media, there's always a lot of talk in our community pages, and it seems to be reactive rather than proactive. So I think the village could make a better effort at, us as trustees, and I've seen that with some of the trustees here in the past, posting on some of those community pages about important things that are coming up, important votes, important topics that are being discussed in committees, and when those committees take that to the village board to vote. Because I feel like a lot of the citizens of the village feel like, well, hey, we didn't know this was happening. And it is up to everybody to try to be informed, but I think that we could do a better job.
Perfect. So for question number 3, what are your top 3 priorities if elected into this position?
Okay. Well, the 3 top priorities would be a safe, welcoming community. As it grows, things change, and have the prosperity so that people living here can make a good living and can be a home for all.
My top 3 priorities are, I have a lot of friends that don't live in McFarland, and they never say to me, hey, Elisa, let's go to McFarland and go shopping and have a drink or dinner or lunch. And so I think as we are growing our community, we're having a lot of more housing. I would like to see, better businesses coming in so we can shop, drink, do everything in McFarland that I'm going to our other Monona. I'm going to Wanakee to do that kind of stuff. And I would really like to do that here in McFarland. Another priority I have is the thing I love the most about McFarland are the parks, the bike paths, and the walking trails that we have here. And we have such amazing community events surrounding those paths. And so I want to encourage improving that as it is right now, including parks and, again, bike paths. And then the third priority is I am a mom, and I've been very interested in trying to be involved in the aquatic center that is being discussed about being put into McFarland. So I'm interested in that, but also figuring out how we can fund it without putting that burden on our taxpayers.
Priorities for me, community engagement and transparency, so I agree with that. Definitely implement initiatives to enhance community engagement, such as regular town hall meetings, online forums, community surveys, harnessing social media. Foster transparency by providing accessible information about village board decisions and budgets and upcoming projects. My DEI work, so I already touched on that, so we can keep going. Smart growth and sustainable development. Support and advocate for responsible and sustainable development practices within the village. Explore opportunities for green initiatives, which we already have a lot of those, but continue that work. Collaborate with relevant stakeholders to plan for future, ensuring that growth is balanced and with environmental considerations as well-being residents. And definitely supporting local businesses to provide those amenities that Elisa really wants, so.
Okay, so for question number 4, are you in favor of new business growth in McFarland? And Elisa, we'll start with you.
Well, the answer is yes. I wrote in my thing yes, and I know you want me to explain it. So I suppose I would say that there's definitely a safe way to expand businesses. I worry about how fast some of the other communities around our area have grown, so that's definitely concerning. But I do think that there are so many, McFarland has so many things to offer to other people from surrounding communities, and I think if we add more businesses, that people will want to come here more and yes, live here, but also just visit for the day, which I think is really good for our community. They'll shop at the grocery store too, go to Culver's, so.
Yeah, definitely in support of business growth. I think that having a good balance between residential and commercial is important for any community. Provides funds so that we can, grow as a village. But also, I believe that having some of these businesses are going to bring jobs, and having people that live in McFarland, work in McFarland, and shop in McFarland is important to for us to build a sense of community and become pillars of the community so that we can keep growing in that social aspect.
Yes, I'm in favor of new businesses for the quality of life, grocery store or more shopping opportunities for local, for families, and whatever other businesses that would really want to relocate or upstart here in the community would be great. And so I just think, if you look across the state in a lot of small communities, they aren't doing as well. But McFarland is doing great, and it certainly can move forward in the area of new businesses.
And then for question number 5, in your role as a trustee, how would you ensure that the village is welcoming and inclusive for all residents? Miguel, start with you.
Thank you. Promoting diversity and inclusion policies. I think that's important to ensure that we are putting up a face that ensures folks that we are inclusive, that people are safe here, that they can find a place where they can call home, and we can keep growing in that, with that in mind. Community outreach and engagement. Again, I already touched on that, but definitely providing those avenues and encouraging folks to get together, reach out to all the different nonprofits, the churches, the grassroots organizations that we have in the village already doing a lot of good work, how we can foster that as a village and provide support and grow those opportunities. Representation of decision making, ensuring that when they do come to those village boards, to those committees, that they feel represented with what they see in leadership. Inclusive events and celebrations. I know we have a couple of events there, but definitely working a little bit more in that to ensure that we build that sense of community that it's already a big thing. That was when I first moved here. That was one of the first things that I noticed just driving around, going to the local store. You can sense the sense of community, and that's why I wanted to get involved in McFarland. So I definitely want to keep fostering that. Addressing disparities. So hopefully through data and technology, we can keep identifying those, assessing those, and addressing those with the DI committee. And then collaboration with community organizations. I see a lot of folks doing good work, so I definitely want to keep build those relationships and support that growth.
Okay, well, be a welcoming community, be a good neighbor, reach out to people, and open the communications systems that we can get to know each other, and these village activities that they have in the summer, and that's a great opportunity for people to come together and share. And once again, it's all about people and how they react to other people. It makes it a welcoming and opening community. You see somebody wave or say hello, that's great.
Well, I think that the village with the DI committee has done a really great job ensuring that we're trying to be more inclusive. But community engagement is very important, where we ask our residents to share their thoughts and feelings. I think accessible services are really important, which, you know, we're doing that with some of our plans for parks in the future, and the library park as well. I think it's very important to celebrate diversity, and just community representation in general, making sure that we have the proper representation to be welcoming and inclusive.
So then for closing, please provide any closing remarks, final statements, or other topics of interest. And this one, we'll start with Lo.
Well, I'm a retired senior, and I have the time and energy to serve the community and the village board. I will bring leadership skills and decision-making ability to the board, and I'm looking forward to seeing McFarland remain a great place to live.
Well, I am a mom and a wife, and I live here, and I love it, and I moved here because of the schools and the community, so I really look forward to representing myself and other parents and community members to try to do the best that I can.
When I first came to McFarland, I immediately felt welcomed. Just driving around the neighborhood when I was looking where I was going to buy, just by simply driving around the neighborhood, I feel safe, I feel welcome, and that was a selling point for me, 100%. The school district has been amazing. I live in California, I live in Florida, and trying to get the school to provide any sort of support for my son was impossible. So within a week, the school was reaching out to me, asking, how can we help? What can we do for you? So to me, that was a selling point. Like, I'm staying here 100%. So I want to contribute to that. I think I have a lot of potential with my background, my military service, my skills in technology, in data, to make an impact. And I just want to serve and do what I can to make this an even better place to live for everyone.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you very much to all three of you. We will just take a quick, brief 5-10 minute break while we change things around, and we'll get ready for our next group in just a moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Patrick and Ed for joining us tonight. Again, with the questions, you will have 2 minutes for the introduction, 2 for each question, and then 2 for your conclusion. So I will let Carly get started. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So for introduction, please provide an introduction, tell us about yourself, background, education, and why you are running for county supervisor. And Patrick, we'll start with you.
Great, thank you. And I just wanted to begin with a thank you to the Chamber for hosting this, and the Village for providing the space, and all of you for coming out on well, it was a rainy day. It looks like the sun's coming out now. That's nice. I'm, again, Patrick Miles, and I'm running for re-election to the County Board. I'm honored to serve the residents of McFarland, the town of Dunn, and the neighborhoods of April Hills and Secret Places. My wife and I have lived here since, well, we've lived here 24 years now, and our son is a junior in high school. I have a BA in English, a minor in writing, so it stands to reason that I put that degree to work as an IT developer, developing public sector finance applications. I did this work nearly 20 years as a small business owner and a consultant, and now as an employee of the State of Wisconsin Department of Administration. I've served this community since 2001, when I was first elected to the village board as a write-in candidate, and I was later elected to the county board in 2006. In this term, my colleagues elected me to be the first person of color to chair the county board. I'm as committed today to public service as I was when I ran as a write-in candidate. And I say this because I know firsthand the profound impact and lasting impact that county services have on families and communities. My mother was a Japanese immigrant, single parent. She worked long hours as a waitress, raising my 5 kids and me, her 5 kids. And it was county assistants that made sure that our needs were met. That life experience is what drives me and is at the core of my service, making sure that we have access to quality, equitable services, and that's at the core of why I serve.
Hi, everyone. Love seeing this room very packed. Name's Ed Ray. I am running to represent District 34 on Dane County Board. I'm running because I believe it's time for a change. I believe it's time for our district to have representation that prioritizes the issues that matter most to us. I believe it's time for our representative to, again, focus on the priorities that we as elected, or we as the communities expect of our elected officials. As I've mentioned before, my opponent voted to cut $1.5 million from funding from the local food banks in the 2024 budget, especially at the times where we saw an increased needs. My priorities are different. I started off my campaign endorsed by former Sheriff Dave Mahoney, State Representative Radcliffe, and a lot of the community leaders in this room. It's been an honor. A little bit about myself. As a first-generation American, my parents brought me here and my siblings to the U.S. when I was 8 years old. We lost everything. We were refugees, had nothing to eat. And so when I became an adult, I wanted to give back to a country that has given me so much. It's why I joined the U.S. Army National Guard to serve. It's why it's been an honor to represent this community on the village board of McFarland, and it's also why I mentor kids of formerly incarcerated parents and why I volunteer within McFarland schools. It is very important for me to give back to my community and my country. Professionally, I work as a senior consultant at Nordic Global. Math nerd, my parents knew I was stubborn, so they made me fall in love with math. But I use my skills to help healthcare, population health, and data analysis to figure out how to make our communities better. On the board, I've been a champion for our environment, for seniors, for public safety, for DE&I, and I chair the Public Safety and Public Risk Committee. Through all of my time on the board, I have worked really hard to bring new voices to local government. I've worked with my colleagues to solve some of those tough challenges, and my focus has always been on doing right by the community that I serve, and that will be my focus as the next supervisor for District 34. So I thank you all for having me. I thank the chambers, and I thank you all for being here for this afternoon.
Question number 1, what excites you the most about wanting to join the Dane County Board of Supervisors? Ed, we'll start with you.
Yeah, same thing that excited me about being on the village board, and that's bringing new perspective, addressing the concerns, meeting with people when we have tough issues, focusing on the issues that matter most to our neighbors. The county board has a big impact, as you know, everything from A to Z, from the airport to the zoo, the county board has some responsibilities. And so in terms of areas of responsibility, things that I care about or want to focus on: environmental initiatives, human services, safety net programs, and of course, public safety. Here in McFarland, I've supported, again, the expansion for the nutrition manager for senior outreach. I was supportive of the Lewis Park Lake access, and I worked for us, supported our development of our new inclusive park. I think transparency and communication is important. And so one thing that I see other colleagues in the community or on the county board do is having regular updates with their colleagues or the community to say, hey, these are things that we're working on, these are projects that's in flight, working with the local government on initiative to make sure we have synergy. And so that is what I plan to do, make sure I'm touching, updating my community, make sure I'm working with the local officials to make sure what issues are reported to the community and having that synergy.
Awesome. Patrick?
I've learned in my service that challenging problems don't get solved or great improvements don't happen by any one person. It takes diversity of thought and collaboration. In my work, I've been most inspired and motivated by the times that I've brought people together, stakeholders together, subject matter experts, and voices of lived experiences to solve problems. And this approach renders positive results, but it's not linear and it's not easy. Let me just use one example that also addresses a criticism that I've read in the paper from Ed. He's criticized me for not hiring a director of the Office of Justice Reform. And by the way, it's the county executive that hires, not the board. And also the interviews for that position are well underway, and we'll be seeing that filled in the coming weeks. But as an example of bringing voices together, in the context of this issue, we expanded the Community Justice Council and its subcommittees to include people of lived experience and stakeholder organizations like Dane to the table to incorporate their expertise and bring that into action and policy. And it's one thing to bring people to the table, it's another thing to listen, and that's what we did. Take that next step to listen, and what I heard loud and clear from those stakeholders is when it comes to appointing somebody from a law enforcement background to address justice reform, it was a step in the wrong direction. And for people in the BIPOC community, what I heard was it would be a violation of trust and a message that we're not serious about reform. I listened to them, and despite the short-term discomfort, it was worth the long-term need for trust and change.
Question number 2. What are some things you would like to change or at least see done differently as a member of the Dane County Board of Supervisors? Patrick.
Okay, thank you. It's a long list, but you know, like I just mentioned, we've done some good work bringing voices of lived experience to the table, to our policy making, and I'd like to find more ways to bring lived experience to policy making and service delivery, and truly institutionalize the practice of blending data-driven decisions informed by the experience of those who use our services. And I'm always looking to improve my work and communication with people, and that's one area I know I need to do better. And I also want to support my colleagues in that effort. And so I would like to provide more options of like ready-made online communication tools to help our county board supervisors communicate with their constituents and be more accessible. And then another area that's not very exciting, but I feel strongly the county needs to modernize its data systems in order to better measure outcomes. And I think this is important in both identifying where we need to improve our services, but to also help us have data to justify and diversify our funding. And that would in itself reduce the tax burden on taxpayers. So.
Yeah, so I believe the question is, what would I like to see done differently? Okay, I'll start off by saying throughout this campaign, I have knocked thousands of doors, and I've met with a lot of people, and I've had a lot of conversations. And it's not necessarily what I would change, it's about what issues are important to my community and what changes my community wants to see. And so there's 3 areas that I've heard consistently over my time knocking doors all across our district. As my opponent mentioned, one of his opportunities is communications. I think after 18 years, if you haven't figured that out yet, yeah. But people want communications and they want transparency. They want a supervisor that's available year-round, not one that shows up during election time. They want one who's responsive to communication. They want ones who have regular office hours and meet with their constituents, their voters, to listen to them. As I see a lot of supervisors do that. I do not see that in my community. People also want a supervisor who focuses on the issues that are important to our community, not on internal county board drama or politics. They care about our landfills. They care about our lake levels. They care about support of our local businesses. We've heard trustees talk about that tonight. And I'm a champion for those areas. I believe I am the change. I believe I bring that representation. People in our district also care about our neighbors. We love the small town feel. Miguel mentioned moving here, Alyssa moving here because of the parks and the trails. That's one of the reasons, in addition to the schools. We love this beautiful area. We want to preserve that, but we also want to improve it. People in this district care about our safety nets. And I'm going to keep repeating this because a lot of you in this room, I've seen you give either money to the youth center or to the nonprofits, to the food pantry. And I find it, as I've gone to doors, people are very upset about the county's willingness to say, oh, you should have planned better over COVID, so we're cutting money from you. However, the county board supports 15, 18% raise for other politicians. That makes no sense. We focus on the people in need. We provide for our people, our residents, and our voters. And those are the issues that I've heard, and that's what I would do different. So thank you.
Perfect. Question number 3. If elected into this position, what are your top 3 priorities? And Ed, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned them again. It's my priorities aligns with what the community, I'm hearing from the community. People in District 34, we care about a healthier Lake Kanganta and Lake Wabeesa. As I've gone, the lake level is low. As you know, we're on the southern end of the Yahara chain, so we're more prone to runoffs, we're more prone to sediments. The county has done Suck the Muck program. I appreciate it, but I believe that we can do more in this area. I've seen that investment, again, more so in other districts and not enough in our community. Our neighbors also care about our parks. We all moved to McFarland because of this natural area and for our schools, so continue to invest in our parks. And lastly, support for our businesses. I also wanted my friends to say, hey, let's go to McFarland and have a drink. Hey, let's go to McFarland and do X, Y, Z. And I think improving, I guess kudos to the chambers. In the recent years, I've seen you all do so much more, and I believe we as elected officials need to support our local businesses, and we have to support our nonprofits.
Okay, so the staple of my service has always been, because it's one of the valuable things in this district is our natural environment, the lakes and streams. And in my service, I've served on the Lakes and Watershed Commission and now the Clean Lakes Alliance, and making sure that we're moving forward in what takes a lot of years to correct sins of the past, as far as like the phosphorus levels and so forth in our lakes and streams. So that's always at the forefront for me. But also going into this next term, I'm looking at working with our state partners to get over the regulatory hurdles, creating a barrier for us to create a crisis triage center. We truly need this center to be able to provide first responders a place to take people that are experiencing substance abuse emergencies or behavioral health emergencies, rather than taking them to emergency rooms or to the county jail. And we also want law enforcement to be in a position of responding to true law enforcement incidents, and our health care and behavioral health incidents being treated as the health care need that they are, not a law enforcement incident. Also, another area is collaborating with partners and stakeholders to tackle our housing issues. In particular, we have a regional housing strategy that we need to turn into action, the recommendations into action, to provide more workforce housing to meet the needs of growing businesses in the area, as well as just addressing the deficit of housing that exists now. We're looking at a 200,000 population growth by 2050. We need to address this problem starting now. And then finally, an area of focus of mine is modernizing and redeveloping the Alliant Energy Center because it is a powerful economic driver for the region.
Question number 4. Are you in favor of new business growth in McFarland? Please explain. Patrick.
Well, similar to the trustees, simple answer, yes. Explanation behind that, there are several. And from my days on the village board, it's still true today, and that is the imbalance of commercial development to residential development here is out of whack compared to most communities, and that puts a greater burden on residential taxpayers. So I think, that's one reason I favor business development. The other is oftentimes McFarland used to be seen as a bedroom community. We need having a robust variety of businesses makes us more well-rounded and a more rounded community and employment center. I would also add that in this realm, my experience in working with others and developing relationships brings some benefit here in that I meet regularly with members of the Greater Madison Area Chamber of Commerce, and we exchange ideas, and I've been learning from them some of the trends we're seeing in employment, and that one of the growing areas is high tech and life sciences. Those businesses are looking for places to locate. So in those conversations, I brought up the map and showed them, look, McFarland's next this area. It's a blank slate, and it's just prime potential for high-end development for the tech industry. It'd be a wonderful employment base, and so that's something my history of relationship building and collaboration with others brings to this table.
The answer is absolutely yes. And I don't want to, I guess, not to just speak of it conceptually, I want to talk about my experience as a trustee on this village board. When I first moved there, that was something, I'm like, we need more businesses. That and the splash pad were probably the two things that I heard a lot of times from people. And people in McFarland want to be able to do more here and not take our tax or our hard-earned money to different communities like Monona or Madison. We want to invest in here. People, we're a younger generation with families here. And so not only is there an economic impact, but it's also a welcoming place. It's a social hub, a place where you can take your dogs, where you can get coffee, get wine, get coffee again. But in terms of the village and what we've done, right? So there's the Atwater too, was part of that initiatives, being creative and utilizing the tools that we have to bring businesses that are not coming organically, such as TID district, using TID financing to incentivize developers. We look at, as a village board, we have the new commercial or business park that's coming. That's also gonna lessen the tax burden on residents because now we have this huge commercial district. So it's not just talking about what we can do, it's actually doing what we need to do. And we've heard from our residents over and over, we need more businesses in McFarland. And I think as we look at the past board, or at its current board over the couple of years, we have seen an increase in our investment in that. And regardless, as a county board supervisor, as a village board trustee, there needs to be relationships where we can work together and say, okay, how do we move forward these concerns from our community, these priorities of our community? I've done that on the village board, and as a county board supervisor, I'm always going to do right by my district because those are the people that elect me and those are the people that I represent. And business growth is something over and over again, and I'm all in on that.
Question number 5. In your role as a Dane County Supervisor, how would you ensure that the county is welcoming and inclusive for all residents? Ed?
Yeah, I think I learned, I think, when I first got on the village board, someone was like, oh, congratulations, you're the first black person to be elected to the village of McFarland. And I was like, oh, did not know that. But I took that very seriously because I took that as a responsibility for all those who came before me and all those who are going to come after me. The students, as I've heard concerns, and not just about what the black person, Asian person, LGBT person, veteran, it's the bigger umbrella of what those marginalized groups, those groups that need services, what can I do with my position to help those people? When Farwell Gallery opened and they wanted to do Pride in the Park, I jumped on that immediately and said, absolutely, because I want you to be supportive. When the American Legion needs something, I jump on that and say, absolutely, because I think we have to represent all of our community members, not just a subset. I'm not straying away from that. I think everyone in this room who knows me know how committed I am to making sure that those without a voice have a voice, not just talking about it, but doing the walk as well. And it's hard work. I get it. It's hard. It's tiresome. But if we're going to be leaders, we have to be accountable to not just ourselves, but also to all of our community. And so as a county board supervisor, those beliefs, those values that I have on as a village board trustee, as a person, I absolutely will bring that on the county board to make sure that everyone on that board feels supported. And if they don't feel supported, working through the complications of that, but also making sure we represent all of our areas and not just a small subset. And also, sorry, just to add, having regular meetings to know what's going on with people, because you don't know if you don't know.
Patrick?
Okay. One of the key ways of being welcoming and inclusive is to ensure that our outward-facing services that the county provides are accessible. And these are areas where I've done work that I think has earned me why I've earned the endorsement of Adelante and Fair Wisconsin. Some examples. For the last couple of years, I've been pushing for the development of language access services, because I really believe that to be accessible, and welcoming, we need our departments to provide our services in an accessible way, and that starts also with language access. So I'm proud to say that that resulted in this last budget, including language access coordinator, and I moved that into the Office of Equity and Inclusion, and it's netting some results. We've been seeing bilingual staff increases in key areas, in particular our 911 center, and that has increased the trust from the community and people, especially Spanish-speaking people, making calls, and I think that's also resulting in better public safety. In our parks, we're making concerted efforts to make our parks and trails more accessible, putting in accessible fishing piers, and we're seeing some of that being done in the near future at Fish Camp Park and at Babcock Park, and that also would include some kayak launches that would be helpful for people with mobility issues. And then in our facilities, we're making sure as we redevelop and develop new facilities that our bathrooms are gender neutral, and that there's adult changing stations provided. So I guess I've run out of time, is that right? So, because I have a long list here, so I guess I didn't time that right. So I'll maybe try to squeeze that into closing remarks.
So for closing, please provide any closing remarks, final statements, or other topics of interest. And we'll start with you, Patrick.
Okay. Well, again, I'll say thank you to the Chamber for hosting this and all of you for listening to us tonight. I want to alleviate any concerns that, because I think Ed has misstated a couple of things, in particular in regards to the food pantry. There was never a cut to food pantries. There was debate in the budget proposal where the county executive proposed adding funds to Second Harvest by moving pandemic relief funds from one set of projects to another. And county board members and I looked at balancing needs, and we moved, instead of the proposed $6 million, we moved $4.5 million to Second Harvest, and later fully funded that to the county executive's proposal. But in the meantime, we applied $1 million to other critical needs, like the Bayview Community Center that serves low-income people, people of a large immigrant population. So I just wanted to alleviate that concern. But I guess I'll just come around to just saying, I love this community. My family, I've made this home for, like I said, 24 years now. And, there's great schools, like the trustee candidates were saying, great schools, it's brought us here, natural environment. And I'm proud of the impact that I've had when I look around from my earliest time on the county board, helping the village get the funds to acquire what is now the Orchard Park with the disc golf in it. I'm proud of bringing the Lower Yahara River Trail to McDaniel Park, and we'll be seeing that Phase 2 expanding this summer or maybe fall, going from Fish Camp Park down to Lake Gonza State Park. Door Creek Wetlands, or Wildlife Area, Lower Mud Lake Conservation Area, Wildlife Area on the south end of Lake Wabisa, protecting wetlands and protecting property owners from flooding and so forth. So I think I've had a profound effect, and I will continue to move us forward. Thank you.
Thank you all for such a lovely evening. Thank you all for being here. Lovely seeing new and familiar faces. It's been an interesting campaign. I've learned a lot from this community, and I've made some new relationships, and I've got to talk with a lot of community members to really understand the issues that matter in this community. We started off this campaign very strong because people truly believed it was time for a change. Over 75 public endorsements, a lot of leaders in this room, the majority of my village board, business owners, business leaders, school board members, new and former village board trustees. Before I jump into that, I want to circle back to my opponent's remark about the food pantry. Facts are facts. This is not an opinion. My opponent voted to cut $1.5 million from both food pantries in 2014's budget. There are 4 proposed amendments that he had a chance to oppose. He said no. Patrick wants to deny it. He wants to fight about it. He wants to change the narrative, his political speak. We didn't cut it. We reallocated. We shifted. The fact of the matter is the county board, the county executive, not only proposed a budget which allocated $6 million to food pantry, he also left $1 million extra to shift funds around. Under my opponent's leadership, not only was that maxed out, but they cut $1.5 million from funding. That is not an opinion. That is not a fact. That is a record that's online. You can search it. In fact, the quote was, they should have planned better like everybody else, as if funding funding for people is temporary. He spoke to, well, I've given them money before, I think $30 million. People are hungry. We talk about affordable housing. One of the things I've learned, as you invest more in affordable housing, there is an increase for food pantries as well, because whether you know it or not, some of those people have to decide between rent and food. We had a pandemic. We have an economy that's shifty. People are hungry. We have to care about our neighbors. And so it's not a matter of anything I want to debate. The information's out there. Melissa Radcliffe is here. People who have been on the county board can speak to that. What I want to speak to is about myself. I believe it's time for change. This community sorry, can I get just the 10 seconds he got? Is that all right? This community believes it's time for a change. I'm going to focus on what matters most to the people of this community. You can learn more about my campaign at edray.com. I ask for your support and your vote on April 2nd. And thank you all for being here this evening.
All right. All right. Thanks to both of you. And we will take about a 10-minute break just so audiovisual can get ready for the school board candidates. So I will reset this up here and we'll get started in about 10 minutes. Thank you. Oh, I'll take it. Thank you. Got it. Thank you. We will get started with our 3 candidates who are running for McFarland School Board. So thank you to Megan, Cassandra, and Bruce for being here tonight. And we'll basically go with the same format. You'll have the 2 minutes for the introduction, the questions, and the conclusion. We'll have 2 minutes for each. Bella will put it up at 30 seconds, and when the 30 seconds are down, or when the 2 minutes are completed, she'll put that paper down so you know to wrap it up. So we will go ahead and get started.
Perfect. So for introduction, please provide an introduction and tell us about yourself, background, education, and why you are running for the school board. Megan.
Fantastic. Well, hello everyone. My name is Megan Chapman. First and foremost, thank you so much to the Chamber for hosting us, as well as the Village for giving us this amazing room. And whoever brought cookies, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to grab one later. But like I said, my name is Megan Chapman. And interestingly enough, I am not a McFarland native, nor a Wisconsin native. I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona. I am a military brat. My dad is a retired lieutenant colonel from the Air Force. And so I moved around a ton when I was younger. I'd actually been in 7 school districts by the time I was in 3rd grade, which probably added a little bit to my outgoing nature. But we ended up setting up roots in Middleton, so I graduated from Middleton High School. I went to UW La Crosse, where I got my degree in marketing French. I can easily say I am not fluent in French. However, Duolingo has been very helpful in renewing some of my skills. So after I graduated, my dad and stepmom actually had a baby, so I do have a 22-year-old sister, and that prompted me to move back to Madison, where I entered the professional realm. I do have a pretty interesting job. I've spent the last 22 years working in the alcohol industry. So I am a sales director for a distillery in northern Wisconsin called Knowlton House. It hasn't officially launched distribution yet, so keep an eye out for 10 Head Vodka and Gin coming to a bar and grocery store near you in May. My husband Mike is here. He and I have been married since July of this year, and I've been living in McFarland for just about 8 years. I do have 2 boys. My older son Cooper is 19. He is a freshman at UW-Stevens Point, where he is studying marketing and is actually their first official assistant football coach. He played football here and then entered the coaching world. And then I do have a 16-year-old son named Colin. I'm so excited to be running for the McFarland School Board. I have a lot of enthusiasm, and the love that I have for this district and everything they do for the students, the parents, the community members, I think it's just amazing, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cassandra Dennis. I am a mother of 2 students in the district. I have a 6th grader. My son, he is at IMMS this year, and then I have a 2nd grade daughter who is at CEPS, so right on the cusp of the transition to the new school in the district, which is a really exciting time for her and us in our house. I've been married to my husband, Kyle, for 14 years. I am not originally from the Wisconsin area. I'm actually originally from Illinois, but my husband works for UW Health, and so we decided that here is where we wanted to raise our family. Originally, we were living on the other side, the Madison side of Sigel-Cow, and I heard all of the wonderful things about the McFarland School District, and so we were blessed that our oldest kiddo was open enrolled. We knew we wanted to expand our family, and at that time, the open enrollment was closed. So we knew we needed to get over to the McFarland side, which is what we did. I am a graduate of University of Illinois, Chicago, and I hold a BS in biology. For my daytime job, I am a practice manager for a dental office in the community that is a small local business. That allows me to wear many hats, so many HR hats, such as hiring, recruitment, day-to-day operations, budget management, all of those things that are key in looking at a budget and finances for an organization. The reason I decided to run for the McFarland School Board is that in 2022, I was on the Strategic Planning Committee. And at that time, I was really able to engage and sit and learn from a group of admins, and everyone in the community of what our goal is really for the district and where we want to go. And so that is what really excites me to think about how we can go in the future to meet the needs of our learners every day. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bruce Fisher. I want to thank again the Chamber and the Village for putting this on, and for all of you doing your civic duty. I kind of feel like my years as a civic teacher and a U.S. history teacher maybe have paid off, but not to everybody here because I haven't all had you. I am a little nervous, and that's just because I tend to be pretty high energy, and I am concerned about, is this a Last Supper that we're having? Because it does look rather kind of, well, we'll leave it at that. Anyway, I grew up in Rhode Island. I received my bachelor's degree in education from Syracuse University, and I was a teacher for 40 years. My teaching experiences included a year in a rural, upstate New York school, 1 year in an inner city school in Chicago, and 37 years teaching middle school and high school and coaching track and cross country at McFarland. I also taught for 1 year in Scotland on a Fulbright teaching exchange, and I spent 5 weeks one summer studying the Russian public school system on a Fulbright study abroad. So my teaching experience, educational experience has been very, very diverse. I know the challenges facing teachers. I understand the problems facing our public schools. I bring a unique and I think an important perspective to the school board. My wife and I have lived in McFarland since 1985, and our children attended and graduated from the McFarland schools. I'm currently on the school board and running for re-election. I originally ran for the school board 3 years ago after being asked by a former student who was concerned about low teacher morale and the fact that our schools were not really performing up to their potential. The student felt that with my long experience as a teacher, as well as my deep understanding of the community, I might be able to help turn things around. I'm very proud of the fact that I think I've helped do that. We have accomplished a great deal during this time, and you can see this accomplishment on my Facebook page. It's too long for me to list. I'm just kind of blown away by what we've accomplished. We've come a long ways, and in a recent Wisconsin State report card, the McFarland School District was ranked second best among all public schools in Dane County. My goal these next 3 years is to continue to build on this progress.
Question 1, what excites you the most about wanting to join the McFarland School Board?
What excites me most about running for the McFarland School Board is the vision the district has for the future. The school district has a vision that is talking about an equitable and inclusive community committed to student belonging, achievement, and growth, allows for our students to be prepared for life outside of McFarland. My goal is that when our graduates leave, they're global citizens and they are ready to go out and tackle different spaces in the world. And that is really exciting to think about, and it aligns with my passion of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it really excites me to think about how the decisions and policies we make in the next couple of years really prepares our students for the future and allows them the potential to set them up to be the change that we want to see in the world.
I wasn't quite sure how to answer this because I'm already on the board, so what I put down is I'm most excited about the fact there's such a positive feeling in our school district. Morale in the school district is so much better than it was when I took office 3 years ago. We have a new superintendent. I didn't know he was going to be here, Aaron Tarnisser, and he is amazing. But that's the truth, and I can guarantee that the other board members who are here will agree. He has infused a new dynamic into our school district. We have established a new 5-year strategic plan with input from members of the community. I was part of the strategic plan committee, and I found out kind of in an awkward way, which is kind of typical for me, that I really shouldn't be voting on it because actually I'm going to have to vote on it when it comes to the board. So I was a non-voting member, but it was really interesting to be involved, and I was glad I did. I'm excited about the fact that we started a community volunteer mentoring system to help some of our students who are most at risk. I myself am mentoring a middle school student. It is not easy work. It is not easy work, but it is so important. Working with our youth is the greatest investment that we can make as a society. We need to expand this program. It doesn't cost our district anything, but it helps kids who really need to be helped, and we need this. There's still a lot of work to do, but I think our district's ready to take on new initiatives, mainly because we are pumped right now. I see myself, and I always have in my life, as a catalyst for ideas to creatively work with other members of the board to make our schools even better.
So what I am most excited about joining the McFarland School Board is that I was raised in a family that is truly dedicated to service. As I spoke about earlier, my father is a veteran, my husband is a veteran, and the notion of service is something that really is close to my heart. I have a very interesting perspective when it comes to the school board and the oversight it entails, because in my family there is quite a bit of school board goodness, so to speak. My father has been on the Middleton School Board for I believe 8 or 9 years at this point, and he was the Middleton School Board president as well during the COVID years. As a parent of 2 boys, 2 students within the McFarland School District, I have seen the amazing things that the school district does at every single one of our schools, from CEPS all the way up to the high school. I am completely that mother who went to all the Timberly events, and you can see me at every football game, volleyball, baseball, basketball. I can neither confirm nor deny that I might have started the First and 10 McFarland chant at all the home varsity football games. So with that, I want to bring that enthusiasm and excitement and sense of community to the school board. With my education and professional background, I spent the last 10 years in executive leadership roles. As part of that, I've really cultivated the notion of what I call the 3 C's when it comes to team building, which is communication, cooperation, and collaboration. I feel very strongly about building relationships, not only between the school board member, but also students, administrators, parents, and other community members as well. I really look forward to serving on the McFarland School Board, and I've seen the challenges that the school board has been tackling for the last 8+ years, and I look forward to bringing my leadership and oversight to the board as well.
Question number 2, how do you plan to engage parents, families, and the broader community in the decision-making processes of the school board? Bruce.
This is me.
Yep.
Well, if I be honest with you, I knew nothing about the school board, even though I taught for 40 years. It's just something that it's an ongoing, there's a learning curve involved, but a lot of the things that Megan just mentioned are so important. What I have is, I'd like to see the school district work to improve our communications within the district and the greater community. I think it's a big problem we have. We're already providing online access to school board meetings, but for those who aren't able to attend them, we need to better communicate our vision and our plans. Similarly, the village also finds that not enough residents are attending meetings, and therefore many residents are not informed of what's going on. We heard this when the village board people were talking. If you're serious about gathering decision-making input from residents, then we need to educate and inform them. I would like to see the district work with the village to find a communications director who could be shared by both entities. This position could also help in coordinating the district and the village on budgetary and growth initiatives, as well as letting the public know about the good things that the district and the village are currently doing. I know before I got on this board, there were times it was confrontational. It was almost like we're going to stick them. And it kind of bothers me. It's like we all in this together. Our schools bring incredible value to our community. Many people have moved to McFarland because of our schools. We keep hearing this. However, our school district needs the support of our community. If we want our schools to do what they need to do, it's important to remember that around 70% of the people who live in the school district do not have kids going to our schools. We need to be creative to find ways that our schools can offer value to these people. Our high school swimming pool is an example of a school facility that benefits members of the greater community. It is truly a community pool. We need to expand access to school facilities. This can attract community support for our schools.
So much like Bruce says, communication truly is the key. And I kind of almost feel like communication is the word of the night, because we've heard it from the village trustees, we've heard it from the Dane County Board Supervisors, and now you're also hearing it from the school board. I view being a board member as truly the interface between the school district and the community members. And much like Bruce said, there are a huge majority of the community that do not have children in the schools. And it's so important to make sure that we are educating and informing every single community member about what's going on within the district, because ultimately everyone is affected in some way. When it comes to being available, thanks in part to my career, I work from home, I have a very flexible schedule, and I am readily available to talk to everyone within the community. I want to be in the community, I want to be in the schools, talking with teachers, talking with administrators, meeting with parents. I've been going out and doing doors and talking with everyone from the mom who just had a 1-month-old baby. Alistair's very cute, by the way. And, she's not quite up to speed as to what's going on. And talking with retired people that are on a fixed income and they have a lot of concerns about what's going on. So when it comes to engagement, just having conversations with people. I love meeting people from all walks of life, and thanks to my lifestyle, the fact that I do work from home, and my children are now to the point where they really don't need me all that much, at least that's what I tell myself. I have the ability to talk with everyone and really listen to your concerns and take them back to the board in a proactive and positive manner.
I will just add that I co-sign on everything they just said. Now it's the how, right? So how do we do that? So we need to create a space during school board meetings that feels welcoming and inviting, right? So recently we've changed our policy on how you can make public comments at the meeting. I don't know if the public truly understands how to make public comments now. So perhaps we could make an outline on the website so that people know how to address the school board and they are not feeling intimidated when they want to come or feel there's a cumbersome process to getting our attention or having a conversation with us. Another idea I had is, do we create like one-to-one meeting times or office hours for school board members? There are people in the community that each school board member is going to connect with differently. So do you have hours that whoever someone feels most comfortable with to come to the school board to share their concerns with, and then they can share it out to the other board members? Again, creating a barrier and not an intimidating circumstance so people can have vulnerable conversations with the board members. Another idea would be getting the community involved. It's the how do they come to us, right? Our buildings are open school hours. Yes, there's people in there in the summer, but that might not be ideal for community members who are working typical job hours. So do we create like community share boxes or drop boxes or suggestion boxes of messages that need to get to the school board for people who have a barrier of showing up or writing an email or whatever the barrier is that they're not showing up and communicating with the board? We need to break down those barriers so that we can actually have the community come to us and share those ideas and thoughts.
Question 3, what strategies do you support for improving school safety, including concerns about bullying and harassment? Megan.
First and foremost, I do want to apologize for the cough. I'm currently getting over the spring cold of 2024. So this topic is very near and dear to my heart as my younger son was recently a victim of verbal and physical bullying. I think it's safe to say that we are all aware that bullying and harassment is a problem within our schools. And students and families should rightfully have the expectation of safety when their kiddos are in class. That being said, I'm very impressed by the McFarland School District and their prevention and intervention protocols that they have in place for bullying. For those of you who aren't aware, there is an online reporting platform that the school district currently uses where students, parents, administrators, support staff members can anonymously make a report if they witness any bullying. It was this platform, in fact, that brought to my attention that my younger son was being bullied. And I got a phone call from his associate principal that said, "Hey, Megan, I just want to let you know, we received a report from Colin, or regarding Colin, that he was being verbally bullied in a class. We've already spoken with Colin, and we've spoken to the other kids that were involved, and we're addressing the situation, and we are taking steps to ensure this doesn't happen." That kind of communication and transparency is so important when it comes to making sure that all of our kids are safe. Bullying is a problem at every single school, and I think by maintaining open lines of communication, not only between administrators, teachers, and students, but also the parents involved, we need to make sure that everyone knows what is going on in every situation, so that way there is a sense of comfort and safety for the kids and the parents moving forward. Thank you.
The program that Megan is talking about is called SUSO, or Speak Up, Speak Out Wisconsin, which is a wonderful program, as Megan shared. The newest thing that the McFarland School District has been doing is they are rolling out a new program that is the McFarland School District Speaks Out. So that is adopted from the Learning for Justice Center, and what that does is actually teaches our students what to do if they are in a position where they hear hate speech, bullying, or harassment. So it gives very clear examples on how to engage in interrupting, questioning, and educating someone when something hurtful is being said. Now, we can all agree that there's harassment, bullying, and hate speech happening in our halls, but it's happening in our community too. So we need to figure out how to get on the same page with the same language and the same process on a community level so that we're all saying the same thing to stop the hurtful speech. So my hope is that as you are in the community and in the schools and you start to see these signs go up, take a minute read them. Is that something that we can partner with the village to get out to the community so that we're all using the same words universally to have the bullying, harassment, and hate speech stop?
It's good that we have the village DEI coordinator here as well. And I think you guys are going to end up working together. I'll start with concerning school safety. I've made suggestions to Superintendent Tarnitzer of potential security issues that I noticed during my years as a teacher. So some of these have already been incorporated. But I want to give him some kudos here. Mr. Tarnitzer has begun to meet regularly with retired McFarland detective Mike Clements to find ways to make our schools safer. I think it is such an important initiative for our district. Officer Clements is a great choice because he's McFarland's first police liaison officer. We've been blessed. We've had 3 outstanding individuals. And Mike knows a lot about our schools and our community. Concerning bullying and harassment, the district has hired additional support staff and a new diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging coordinator. Each of these individuals can help mitigate the effects of bullying and harassment. However, keeping class sizes manageable is probably one of the most important things we can do to try to eliminate bullying and harassment. Students and teachers need to connect with each other. It's that connection that's so important to successfully deal with this issue. If class sizes get too large, and I've gone through this experience as a teacher, you lose that connection. Students need to feel that there are staff who are looking out for them and can provide a safe space for them to learn. The administration also has to back up the policies that we have, and fortunately, they have. Our school board has backed our administration and staff when issues have come up. The priority of our superintendent and the board is that every student deserves a chance to learn in a safe environment. New limits on cell phone use will help, but eliminating bullying and harassment requires all of us, including the parents and families of our students, to work together to achieve this goal.
Question number 4. What is your vision for the future of education in our district, and how do you plan to work collaboratively with other board members to achieve that vision? Cassandra.
Having a more diverse staff that is representative of our community, focusing on data to close the achievement gap presented in traditionally marginalized communities, reducing the amount of hate speech, bullying, and harassment in our district, to be able to have our students feel seen, valued, and heard. To do this, we're going to need collaborative work with team members of the board. We need the school board to continue to focus on the strategic plan that they have previously approved, and the board will need to continue focusing on the vision and mission that they agreed on when they're making any changes to policy and curriculum.
This is the one that makes me nervous because it's pretty long. So I'm going to read. When I ran for school board 3 years ago, I talked about how we're all in this together. I also said that we must treat people the way they want to be treated. These statements are still true today, and they always have been. There will always be some give and take, as there should be, but in the end, we have to work together if we want to have a successful school board. As for the future, I envision that there will be greater collaboration between our district and the village. We have to. We need to find ways to share facilities, staff, resources in order to provide services. This collaboration started 3 years ago when I joined the board. In the recent visit of State Superintendent Jill Underly, our career and technical education program were showcased as models for the future of education. Our tech ed department has used wood from diseased trees that the village removed from village property, and our students were taught how to mill the wood and use it for projects, saving the district money. I think it was $5,000. Currently, 10% of all the students in the high school are involved in youth apprenticeships. That's incredible. Okay, collaborating with 53 local business partners. We are the leaders in all of Dane County. The village and the school district are collaborating to build an 8-acre solar farm, sharing the electrical output and saving utility costs for both entities. Lastly, the village is building a new inclusive park, we've talked about it, on Wabisa's property, school property. We're putting a village park on our school property. We're working together. It turns out these projects are examples of what the future can look like when the school district and the village work together. In the end, school learning takes place in the interactions between the teacher and the student. If we want to ensure that children receive the best education possible, then we must empower teachers by keeping class sizes manageable, providing them with the time and resources that need to do the job. And that means giving them time to prepare for lessons, work with students, grade assignments, and contact parents. I pursued all these goals in my first term, and I'm going to continue to do it in my next as well.
So my vision is about academic excellence. As we look towards growing our kids throughout our school district, I think it's really important that all Middleton High School graduates come prepared and equipped for whatever their next step may be. For some students, that's entering a 4-year school. For some, it's 2 years. For some, it's maybe taking a gap year and going and traveling and find themselves, or they enter the workforce right away. But it's critical for us that we have equity within our education to ensure that all students' needs are being met to make them the most successful that they possibly can. I love the fact that the school district is already doing this, but it's something we need to continue focusing on. I think another big thing we need to really address is the role of technology in the 21st century and how that is being filtered down to our students. We need to have a school district that is very agile when it comes to utilizing technology as it stands right now and in the future, and not only ensure that we're having technology benefit our students, but also be cognizant to the negatives that come with technology. So I'm sure you're all aware TikTok has been in the news recently, and for those with high school, middle school students, everyone's on a phone and they're on the Snapchat and the Facebook and Instagram and Be Real. I'm sure there will be another social media platform, come April, but it's something that we really need to be discussing because as technology continues to increase, our students are going to be dealing with that as well as our administrators. Another vision of mine is the fact that we are giving our students life skills. I love the youth apprenticeship program. I think it is a fantastic program that our district takes part in, and it's a really wonderful way for our students to get real-world experience while they're in high school. I would love to see this youth apprenticeship continue to grow and grow and grow, and I think we can already tell that it's already happening. In terms of working with the school board, collaboration is extremely key, and I know that all school board members are going to want to work towards that academic excellence piece that I already spoke about. By having successful and cooperative relationships within the school board in and of itself, that's just going to trickle down to administrators, parents, staff, and other community members.
Question number 5. In your role as a school board member, how would you ensure that the district is welcoming and inclusive for all students and their families? Bruce.
I took part in developing our district's strategic plan, and our mission statement says, meeting the needs of every learner every day. And our vision statement describes our district as an equitable and inclusive community committed to student belonging, achievement, and growth. After a pretty intense debate, we decided to weave diversity, equity, and inclusion into all 4 of our district pillars. I wasn't necessarily in favor of that at first, but the 4 pillars are educational excellence, family, community engagement, exceptional staff, and resource allocation. I now think we did the right thing. We felt that by weaving DEI into all these pillars, we would be working continuously to strengthen our commitment to DEI. Not only did the board unanimously adopt the strategic plan and this philosophy, we also hired a coordinator to help our district work with all students to ensure that they are provided with the resources and opportunities to reach their fullest potential. I'm proud of what we've done these past years, and I want to see us continue to continue with that work so that our district can be the best that it can. Lastly, another initiative to make our district more welcoming and inclusive is to attract more diverse staff. I want you to know that I started in McFarland in 1976, and it's not like we haven't done that. It is difficult to do. And that kind of led me to this idea, we need to maybe start growing our own. And I got this idea, if TJ's here, TJ, you gave me this idea, and it's brilliant. Start a grow your own project where you get kids who are interested in going into education, encourage them to do that, and then contact them after they graduate. If they're still interested, give them opportunities to get involved. Because I think that is such an important way to try to bring some of our really talented folks back into our district. Unfortunately, we have a problem as far as this goes too. We get this nationwide shortage of teachers in all different areas of education. So it's really important that we offer competitive compensation to attract and retain the best staff. So, thank you.
So in my role as a school board member, I think it's really important to understand that being on the school board and the service that comes with it is more than attending Monday evening meetings. It's about being in the community, having conversations, and making sure you're available for when issues arise that the school board would, or that community members would like to see the school board address. There was a meet and greet at Grace Coffee last weekend, and I spoke with a retired teacher, Signe, and she told me, kudos to Bruce, that one of the things she really loved about Bruce was the fact that he was in classes. And I think being visible and having those conversations is so critical. We've talked a lot about communication, and in order to make people feel included and part of the community is making them part of that communication. So in the past 7 years, I should say 8 years at this point, of having children in the district, I've been able to have those conversations with administrators, coaches, support staff, parents, my kids' friends, their parents, and it really becomes a collaborative effort because as someone said in a previous conversation, you don't know what you don't know. And if we're unable to have difficult conversations about what needs to be changed within our district, we can't see those changes happen. We all talk about how knowledge is power, right? Well, if knowledge is power, and with true knowledge we can guide and create positive and long-term outcomes for our district, I think conversation and communication is so important. And I'm so excited for the opportunity to be out in the community and have these conversations to make our school district the best it can be. Thank you.
So to make everyone feel valued and included, it is essential to nurture an environment where diversity is not just accepted, but it's celebrated and welcomed. So we need regular workshops and training sessions on cultural sensitivity and bias awareness that we can help foster mutual respect and understanding among all school members. We can adjust our curriculum to include a wider range of perspectives and histories that ensures our students are seeing their own backgrounds reflected in their learning and gain insight into the experiences of others. We need to ensure equitable access to educational opportunities and extracurricular activities, which means leveling the playing field so that every student can get a chance to shine. Engaging with families and the broader community in an open, inclusive manner ensures diverse viewpoints are being considered in the decision-making process, leading to policies and initiatives that are truly reflective of the needs of the entire school and community.
And in closing, please provide any closing remarks, final statements, or other topics of interest.
So I think during the course of this evening, we've had the opportunity to answer some fantastic questions that the Chamber put together. So thank you so much again for doing that. But when it comes to priorities, like I said earlier, my top priority is ensuring that McFarland schools graduate young adults fully prepared to achieve whatever they might want to. Like I said, it can go the college route, the work route, whatever they really want to do. We have to ensure that they are prepared and ready to enter the next phase of life. To make that happen, my priorities are extremely clear, and unfortunately we didn't get too much into this, but first and foremost, we really need to close the achievement gap and make sure that every student has the resources available to them to help them be the most successful they can be. As we have spoken about all over social media, as it seems, and in lengthy conversations, we need to ensure that our school district has the necessary funding. The funding covers everything from salaries to ensuring our buildings are safe, making sure that our arts, athletics, and other volunteer organizations are well funded. And with the referendum that is coming on April 2nd, I highly suggest that everyone really do their homework, ask all of the questions that you need to feel good about voting the way that's best going to suit your household. I talk a lot about how it's about the kids, and when it comes to our school district and the school board, it really is about the kids. We also need to make sure that we are attracting and retaining the best staff we can. We are not alone in the notion that we are lacking diversity within our staff. It is a state problem, it is a national problem, and it is actually a global problem. I had the opportunity to have a conversation with someone who recently went to France, and they said they're experiencing the same thing. But what McFarland School District has going for us is that this is a tremendous community. We have seen this community come together in various aspects. I mean, we came together to save Harvey the dog. We were also curious about him and making sure we are safe, and it's so wonderful to see all of us come together. I am prepared and motivated to serve on the McFarland School Board. I'm energetic, optimistic, and enthusiastic, and I ask for your vote come April 2nd. Thank you.
First, I would like to extend gratitude for everyone in the room and everybody tuning in virtually and the Chamber for organizing this event. I just want to take us back to, we talk a lot about our kids and our community, and I feel like we're forgetting the piece of our school admin and our school teachers, right? Because without great staff at our school, we don't have great schooling for our students. So being on the school board is a wide variety of looking out for people. So it's our students, it's our staff, it's our administration. Not one of those can survive without the other, and collaborative working all together is very important. In closing, I would bring a unique perspective to the school board. With having a multiracial family, I grew up with a hearing disability in the public school system. Because of my unique experiences, I have the ability to see viewpoints from multiple perspectives that are representative of our community. This allows me to feel very confident in thinking of all of our children when we're making decisions on the school board. I also have countless hours of experience communicating effectively and having hard conversations personally and professionally. These are a few of the key reasons why I'm the best candidate for the McFarland School Board, and I look forward to your support and your vote on April 2nd. Thank you.
I came very close to not wanting to run for re-election. In some ways, I felt like I had accomplished a lot of the things that I was hoping to do. I was concerned because we have 2 openings, and when Kate Green decided to not run for re-election, I felt it was probably important that I do run because I didn't know who all would be coming. So I wanted to say these women are both very, very competent. I mean, we have some really good people here. Kate Green was outstanding, or is outstanding, so it just kind of put a little bit of pressure on me that way. But anyway, I just want everyone to know I feel like I'm just a very fortunate individual. I've been able to spend 40 years of my life working to educate young people. What a rewarding job. I mean that, okay? It is something I truly love to do. Because I'm retired, I've had the time to visit all 4 McFarland schools. I try to go 4 times a year, twice each semester. I think it's one of the most important tasks that a school board member can do. I do this as a way of acknowledging and thanking our staff for all they do. And I know how proud it made me feel to have guests seeing my classroom engage in that magical moment when kids are learning. It's amazing. It's for you people who've never taught. That's why get involved with mentoring. We need mentors. There's kids who need it. I know what outstanding, harmonious schools look like. I love that word harmonious, where everyone's kind of working together. And this is a unique and important perspective to have on our school board. Having lived in this community for 38 years, I know and love McFarland and all that it has to offer. Our schools are what brought our family to McFarland, as it has so many in this community. It's our school that brings so much value to our community. We will continue to face challenges, but I think I have the knowledge and experience to make our schools the best they can be. I ask you to please support me in this election for the school board on April 2nd. Thank you.
Again, thanks to all of you for coming. Thank you, guys. I'd like to thank Carly for being our moderator, and Bella, who is our youth apprentice for the Chamber, did our timing tonight. So appreciate that. So thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Good job.
All right.